What's going on, everybody? Just finished up dinner. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for hanging out with me here. We are going to get the show started right off the bat and get right into the chat because the chat started when I had the show originally scheduled to start, which was supposed to be 10:30 Central Time, but for some reason I put it in as 10. I had no idea that I had done that. I even put it on Twitter out as 10:30, so I don't know how the hell that happened, but welcome to Ask Weezy, everybody's favorite show of the week, where we are going to break down these fights that are on the UFC Vegas 64 card, but you can ask me any specific questions that you have about any of the fighters, any future matchups coming up, the props, anything that we got for this card coming up, which is, not great. Not great. I kind of need to be here, because I do this every week. But there's going to be a lot of people that are casual MMA fans that are just going to take this one off altogether. And, it is what it is. But thank you guys for hanging out. We got 13 of you guys hanging out with us here right now on Ask Weezy. And we've got the very first person in the room, Chicago legend Kanye Ye West, saying, "Oi, yes, what's good, Weezy? Rate the card. 1A kicking the yam bags. How excited are yous?" All right. I would say for this card, here, let me do something here. I am going to share my screen with you guys. And get that up there, and we will go back to the regular screen. I'll just bring up the stats when we are ready here. But this is not a great card, and if we go through it from top to bottom, it's hard to get excited about Neil Magny fights these days. I think it's a really good main event. Rodriguez, Lemos, they're two super high level women's straw weights, and Lemos has got something that almost no straw weights have, which is a ton of power. So it makes her fights really exciting to watch. She can land one big shot, and be getting jabbed up for 3 rounds, land one big shot and win the fight. So it's going to be exciting to see how this one plays out. Magny, Rodriguez, meh. I mean, Parisian Sherman, he's going to be fun for entertainment value for sure. I'm sure it's going to be a pretty good scrap. Bekov, Manis. It's going to be interesting to see how Nate does down at 125. Madsen Dawson is a great fight, and Minner Nurdenbecka is a good clash of styles fight. Miranda Maverick, Shanna Young, that's one-sided. Bautista Lopez is probably going to be one-sided unless Benito Lopez is leveled way up in the 3 years and 3 months that he's been away from the cage. Jinu Fry, Viana, meh. Munoz, Shalinian, meh. Hadley, Candelario, it'll be interesting to see if Hadley can have a similar performance to what Tatsuro Taira had against Candelario, because if he does, maybe people will start talking a little bit more about White Kong. And then we got Ramona Pascual versus Tamiris Vidal, which is basically like a middle finger to UFC fans everywhere. I have no idea why the UFC felt that they had to offer Tamiris Vidal a contract. I just don't know. But anyway, we got Jenna Marie in the room. What is up, Jenna? Good to see you hanging out. We got Keith Offenlock saying, "Oi, how you doing, Uncle Weezy?" Doing good, man. Doing good. This is the last content I'm going to be doing of the week this week. I'm going to start getting ready now tonight, getting the stats out for my Patreon members for tomorrow, and make sure that we can get an early start on UFC 281, which is a much better card. So I'm going to start researching that one tonight, see if there are any bets that I like. Right now, I've only got 1/2 of a unit tracked for this event, and it's a prop. It's the Minner first round sub prop at plus 800 on DraftKings. So, it's a tough one, you guys. It's a very, very tough one. We got Daz Files in the room saying, "Oi, that's why it's called gambling, not guaranteeing." Yeah, Mushroom, you got that one right, man. We got Addicted to Combat in the room saying, "What up, Unk? Do you have any stats that can predict which of this week's 12 fights most likely ends due to injury?" It's got to be the main event, just because it's main event fights that are ending in injuries every goddamn time. It's for this year that I can remember right off the top of my head. The Rakic main event against Blachowicz. The Aspinall Blades fight, the Ortega Rodriguez fight, and now the one last weekend with Cater. So, yeah, hopefully this doesn't happen anymore. 4 is enough for 1 year. But if it's gonna be one of these fights, you just gotta feel like it's the main event, because they did it back to back, I believe, with Ortega and with damn it, the other one that, the Blades and Aspinall and Ortega ones, I think, might have been back to back. So we don't need any more of that shit, man. Good to see you in here, though, Patrick. Thanks for hanging out. We got Papa Chuck saying, "Unk, why in the hell hasn't the UFC booked the next card in Chicago yet? You would think outside of Las Vegas and New York, Chicago will be a homestay of the UFC for events. There's probably a reason for it. Maybe they don't do as well here that they think. I really don't know. It's kind of weird, because I know one of the guys, Ari Emanuel, is one of the Endeavor Group's higher ups. I know that he was one of the guys before it went public that was one of the 3 owners after it got sold. So Ari Emanuel, his brother was mayor of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel. So you would think that if there was that kind of a relationship, but Rahm isn't mayor anymore. Now we've got, I'm not going to even talk about our mayor. Oh my God. It's just fucking, it's so bad. Oh God. But anyway, maybe it's because Lori Lightfoot is the mayor of Chicago that the UFC says, we don't want to be associated with a city that would elect Lori Lightfoot to be mayor. And we're just not going to have UFC events in Chicago until she's out. And you know what? If that's the reason, I get it. I absolutely get it. Pink Floyd is in the room saying A2C baked A2C based on the odds, Maverick. A2C? Addicted to Combat. Okay. Yeah, all right. So based on the odds, Maverick. Very interesting that you would say Maverick would be the one to get hurt, because that would destroy every parlay on the card, because all these people that like to put together the 5 and 10 leg parlays or whatever, they're all parlaying up Miranda Maverick. So that would be ugly if that happened. Very ugly. Mushrooms in the room saying, "What's up to Daz Files?" We got Mushroom saying, "What's up to Papa Chuck?" Papa Chuck saying, "What's up to Mushroom? When are we going to see new YouTube profile pics for you?" We got to get those, man. We got to get fucking Mushroom his own YouTube channel, and he can just post every day's lunch, and it will be, you'll have so many subscribers, dude. It's food porn. We got Ben Katie saying, "The UFC hates the Chicago winters, but valid point, Papa Chunk. There is a Bellator card coming up in DePaul with Anderson Nemkov, Pitbull, and some bums. Interesting. I didn't even know that. DePaul's not far from me at all." Mushroom saying, "What's up to Papa Chuck? Coming soon." Yes, we gotta get it, man. We gotta have that. Papa Chuck saying, at Ben Gady, "$1 billion company worries about winters. They could easily make a card from nothing but fighters from the surrounding areas. Take my money." Yeah, I would think that they wouldn't have problems selling out the United Center or any of the other venues that they would want to come to around here. But I know that Bellator's had cards over at the old Rosemont Horizon, which is now the Allstate Arena. But yeah, it's good to have. That was something that I was talking about with somebody earlier today. Where it's like they got to stop with this Apex shit. This Apex shit where you only allow 20 people in there or whatever. It allows them to be able to put together a card like this. Because if they brought this to Boise, Idaho, nobody would fucking show up. If they brought this shit to Houston, nobody would show up. They've got to start getting outside of their comfort zone and traveling every goddamn week again and start doing these cards. It doesn't have to be Vegas every week. We can still do Vegas once a month or even twice a month. but just not the fucking Apex, because it allows them to be lazy and it allows them to put on cards like this, where they're basically just working names off the roster. And if you're trying to get names off the roster, like for instance, Ramona Pasquale, 0-2, try to get her a loss. And then what do? You bring in Tamires Vidal, and so now she's got a 3-fight contract, so that if she gets the win here against Pascal, you're going to cut Pasquale, and now you got to find 2 more fights for somebody else nobody gives a shit about. I don't understand what they're doing here, but I want them to stop with this Apex shit and start traveling around the country, because if they do that, and if they travel around the world and they try to put on good events, we're going to get less cards like this. But I mean, I think that they just love that they get to pay these low-level fighters absolute garbage, and that ESPN pays them for it, and then they put this shit on us, and they're crapping all over us. Let's face it, man. Mushroom saying that Papa Chuck, I'm waiting for them to come back to Philly as well. Yeah, man. And that's Title Town now with fucking the Phillies on fire. We'll see. Ben Katie saying, I agree. That's what they said. Why not come in summer and forego a Vegas card? It's ridiculous. I mean, dude, summer in Chicago is amazing. It's amazing. It's such an incredible city in the summer. We have so few months where we have tolerable weather in this city that when we do, the city knows that it's a limited time thing, and there is something going on every single weekend in certain neighborhoods. And you can, you spend a summer in Chicago, you can go to 30 concerts that are outdoors and not see the same band twice, and just, I mean, there's so much to do here. Yeah, I mean, not having cards here in the summer, it's kind of ridiculous. Addicted to Combat saying, at everybody, what's up? And yeah, put every card that's supposed to be in the Apex in Chicago, problem solved. They'll sell it, dude. Yeah, absolutely, man. What's up? Home Slice says, Papa Chuck. Daz Files say, hey, D-Gens, what's up, Daz Files? Always good to see him in here. Papa Chuck saying, Daz Files, man, from down under. We got Shay Way up in here saying, lost Uncle Bernardo this pandemic. You are his replacement. I shout out to him on the day of the death, maybe a Palomoso or a Paloma. Thank you for everything. Hope to contribute more soon. Shayway, I appreciate you. Rest in peace, Uncle Bernardo. We will see you soon someday on the other side, my man, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Shayway, for hanging out with us. Papa Chuck saying, where in the Avondale is Uncle Weezy? Sounds like a Carmen Sandiego phrase. Yeah, man, I was I was supposed to be 10:30, but food was taking fucking forever. So, and then a man's got to eat, dude. A man's got to eat. So, yeah, I was happy to get that food in my belly. Now I can work the rest of the night and answer any questions that you guys might have about this Kraken card, UFC Vegas 64. What do you want to know about Tamires Vidal, huh? Because I've got all of her UFC stats, which is 0, because she shouldn't have been here in the first place, and she doesn't have any fights. And now she's going to be fighting Ramona Pasquale, who hopefully makes 135. And, we can start off with that fight. God damn it, man. Mushroom saying sharp chats. And we got Dad saying, Weezy be making a drink and slipping on the jacket. I like Bautista as my grandma's bet this week. There you go, man. Anyone think D-Rod can get a sub? It's like plus 1,200. Dude, that'd be interesting. Let's look at how many times Neil Magny has been subbed at the UFC level and by who. Okay. So Neil Magny's 18-8, and he has 4 submission losses at the UFC level. And we do know that D-Rod is a 10th planet black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Got a great guillotine choke. So a loss by sub in his most recent fight to Shavkat Rakhmonov, who is on another level. He lost by submission to Rafael Dos Anjos. He lost by submission to Damian Maia. And He lost by submission to Sergio Moraes, world champion in BJJ. So yeah, I mean, he's got 4 submission victories, or I mean, 4 submission losses just at the UFC level alone. So that's a pretty high percentage. He's losing 50% of his UFC losses are by submission. At plus 1200, you're looking at about an 8% implied probability. Not bad. It's not a bad look, man. Or would he even try? Well, and that's another thing too. Let's see how many submission attempts D-Rod has at the UFC level. Won, and he won that fight by submission. So his only submission attempt at the UFC level was a successful one. It was a guillotine choke against Tim Means. So, yeah, I mean, he doesn't really attempt them all that often, and he doesn't really shoot for takedowns. Only 10 takedown attempts in all of his fights, which is 9 UFC fights. He's gotten 6 of them, but he's gotten only 130 seconds of control time in his UFC career. Although maybe in the Rico Farrington fight, he might have had a lot of control time, but those numbers are not available because it was on the first iteration of the Contender Series. But that would be an interesting look, man. Papa Chuck saying, sure, Uncle Weezy hits almost 2,000 followers, and now he's starting to be fashionably late like Conor McGregor. I don't blame him. Apologize to absolutely no one. Yes, the reason I was late today is because I was like just doing a pile of cocaine on my boat with the strippers that I like to do cocaine with. And yeah, it just got way out of hand. And then all of a sudden, like one of the strippers was like, when's Ask Weezy? And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm so late. Give me another line. I'm going to bump that up and then I'll be ready for Ask Weezy. So I'm ready to go for Ask Weezy. Just like Conor McGregor, man. Love it, Papa Chuck. Great stuff, dude. Yeah, he has spamming us and now a superstar. That's right. He late. Maybe a good story behind it. A future story time. I was going to do the podcast, but an old roommate. And this is me apologizing. Man, thank you for telling me not to choke Daz Files because I did actually just destroy that chicken parmesan that I had delivered, man. Ben Katie said he isn't here to take part. He's here to take overs. And there are a couple overs I like this week. I like the Neil Magny D-Rod over. What else do I like for overs this week? You know what I did like, but it opened at a way better price, was this Sherman Parisian fight goes to decision. We opened at plus 250. I loved it at that price, but it's moved since then. And I'll have to update that in the template. I thought I had already. Damn it. Because that line has moved quite a bit since then. It is now. I was going to bet that at plus 250. At plus 250, I've got to be taking more of those shots because it's just 8% underpriced in comparison to the benchmark. So the fight doesn't go is now minus 225 plus 200. All right. Plus 200. Yeah, still a 3.9% break there, 3.5% break there because these guys go to decision at the UFC level 36% of the time, and we're only paying 33% on that line. So it's a very interesting look, but a lot of green here on this side for the non-violence lines in the Sherman Parisian fight. Ulan Bekov Manis, I think, probably goes over, but you have to see how Manis looks on the scale. No point in betting that if he doesn't look good, because he could absolutely get starched or be, really susceptible to a big shot due to the horrific weight cut. But yeah, I mean, I like that one over that I mentioned already. The Magny Rodriguez minus 190. Oh no, it's minus 225. Yeah, it's overpriced, but I think it hits. At Uncle Weezy, no sweat. We shall forgive you. Enjoy your dinner. I appreciate you, man. But we want to know what you ate? Oh no, it was chicken parmesan. It was really good. If Weezy's dinner is as big as one of my lunches, we could be here for a while. Dude, it was a big ass chicken parmesan from the Pasta Bowl in Chicago. So, and I ate the whole thing. I was only going to eat half, but I had barely eaten anything today, and I'd worked out. And I was so hungry, And I was like, you know what? For UFC Vegas 64, there's probably going to be 20,000 people live watching for Ask Weezy. Just the questions flooding in faster than I can respond to them, because people want to know. People want to know what's going on this card. People want to know how they can possibly stack cash tickets like flapjacks for this thing, and so had to really fuel up Mushroom. You should take a picture. Oh man. Dan's file saying, when I worked for Century 21, I door knocked the door and a girl answered the door, but it was barricaded, so she couldn't open it fully. She said her husband didn't allow her out of the house and she didn't own the house to sell it. I said, I shall call the police and we will let you out. She said, no, don't. He will get mad. I went on my way feeling a bit sad for her. And that's why you should fade real estate agents. Dude, you're right, man. You're absolutely right. Because, yeah, it's an easy test to pass. Anyone can be a real estate agent. And, the reason that they might want to be doing it is so that they can do creepy shit in houses that are for sale, and not have it be traced back to them, so to speak. I don't know, man. Benito Lopez, I hope he's doing well. And we'll see how he does, man. The guy was a great prospect. He just took over 3 years off, and it's really hard to know where he's at. But we know where Batista's at. We've got a nice sample size of recent fights from Batista, and they look really good. So, yeah, I'm expecting him to get the job done. That is crazy, dude. Realtors are 0-1 in the UFC. Realtors are about to be 0-2 in the UFC. Elia Quinta is entered the chat. What's up, JR? Let's go on. Six-man Films saying, was 2 for 2 betting World Series baseball today and using that cash to go right into UFC this weekend. I hope you find some good spots, Six-man Films, and ask me any questions that you have, because I can give you the stats on it and point you in the right direction. JR is saying, what are you smoking a bowl and beating off? Oh, come on. It's a half truth. I wasn't smoking weed. Papa Chuck saying, Unc, if you, Mr. Weezy himself, were to collect UFC trading cards, who would be in your top 3 fighters? Oh, man. Colby Chaos Covington. I mean, he's got to be in there, right? And then my 2 favorite up-and-coming fighters, guys with endless gas tanks who just break dudes. My guy JSP, Jonathan Pierce, and my guy Anthony Hernandez. I'm big fans of those two guys. I love watching them fight. I love watching them use their cardio as a weapon, which is something that Colby Covington does as well. Sean O'Malley really made a fan of me against Peter Yan. I thought he performed really well there, and I'm just looking forward to seeing him be in high level fights with top guys in the division and see how he fares, because he's an exciting dude. He's a fun guy to watch. I don't think he beat Peter Yan, but it was a very close fight. And I wasn't surprised when it was a split decision, because O'Malley had some big moments in that fight. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him go again. There's a lot of guys. It would just take forever to mention who are all these guys. Christian Rodriguez last week. I can't wait to see that dude fight again. That it looks to be a special talent. A lot of guys. These Basharat brothers are pretty fucking good too, man. But yeah, the top 3: JSP, Anthony Hernandez, Colby Chaos Covington. And Jenna Marie says, "Oi, Uncle Weezy, what's up?" And Papa Chuck saying, "What's up?" to Jenna. We got Jenna saying, like and subscribe, folks. I appreciate you for saying that, Jenna. Papa Chuck, what's up? Says Jenna. Wang Young saying, hello, Mr. Uncle Weezy. What's up, Wang Young? Good to have you hanging out in here. Jacob547 saying, smoking that Zaza and researching stats. That's how it be. You got that right, man. You got that right. We got Jenna saying, what up, my guys in the chat? Yeah. We got Bob saying, the main event is difficult for me. I really like Lemos, but I don't like that it's 5 rounds. I do think Lemos gets a lot of shit for her cardio. I just don't know if it's 100% justified. Lemos fights pretty well while tired. She gets tired. She slows down. I think she loses a little bit of sting off her punches as the fight goes on, but she has so much more power than anybody else in the weight class that even when she hits you with 70% power in round 3, it's enough to rock anybody in this division. So, I don't have any money on the main event at all. I kind of feel like everything is priced right about where it should be. But Lemos is going to be live to hurt somebody and finish them early in a fight. Marina Rodriguez, I don't think has ever been finished. Marina Rodriguez has never been finished in 19 professional fights, and she's never even been knocked down in 10 UFC fights, almost 150 minutes in the UFC cage, and 458 significant strikes absorbed. She's never been knocked down. But then again, you look at the last 5 names: Yan Xiaonan, Mackenzie Dern, Michelle Watterson, Amanda Hebos, Carla Esparza. None of those names are really power punchers. And Amanda Lemos is somebody that's got a 1.84% knockdowns per total significant strikes landed. And she's landing 1.34 knockdowns per 15 minutes. So we'll see if Lemos is the first one to crack that chin of Rodriguez. And if she is, how is Rodriguez gonna handle that? How is she gonna respond to that? That's information that we really don't have because we haven't seen it happen at this level yet. And Marina's never been knocked out, but Amanda hits different, you guys. So it's going to be really interesting. I can't help you much there, Bob. But maybe if you have like those props where you can get like round 1, 2, and 3, and just bet that for Lemos. Because if it goes past round 3, Marina's probably going to win those last 2 rounds. It might be difficult for Lemos to win a decision. We've never seen her really out of round 3 in her career, so we don't know what's going to go up there. Mushroom saying, what's up to Jenna? We got Bob saying, adrenaline dump after almost finishing Angela Hill, but she looked kind of decent against Mizuki Inoue in round 3, and she was clearly ahead 2 rounds on the scorecards. I agree. I was actually kind of surprised. I was when it was the Hill fight, I was doing the research on her, and I watched that Inoue fight, and I was like, man, maybe her conditioning isn't as bad as I thought it was, but we've seen her gas, like especially in that Leslie Smith fight, but that was a debut, and it was up 2 weight classes. So, yeah, very interesting. Prince of Mischief saying, thoughts on Batista versus Benito fight doesn't go. With a 3-year layoff, his skills have got to be diminished and bring rust. I see Batista shaving ass. Yeah, Batista is the ass shaving of the week. And I like violence in this spot, and the prop template likes it as well. So when we look at the prop template here, which is available on Uncle Weezy's Patreon on the advanced tier for $20 a month, and we zoom in, right, we can see that the fight doesn't go to decision sitting at minus 115, has a 53.5% implied probability. When we compare that to the benchmark, which is how many 135-pound fights that are 3 rounds finish inside the distance, and I have the benchmark down here, 49.14%. That 49.14% minus this 53 shows that we're overpaying by about 4.35%. But that's not bad. It means that it's fairly priced at minus 115, and that these guys are going to decision finishing inside the distance 50% of the time at the UFC level, and we have those stats down here. So we can see that Batista, his fights finish inside the distance 2/3 of the time, and for Lopez, it's 1/4. So 5 out of 10, 50% of their fights are finishing inside the distance, and we're only paying 53.49%, which is basically that VIG that we're overpaying there, because each of these, like when you have a minus 115 and a minus 115, there's 3.5% VIG on both of those. It doesn't just add up to 100. It adds up to about 107. So that 7% VIG, you're going to see if a line is priced properly, that VIG is going to be half on one side and half on the other. And in this case, because it's a minus 115 pick'em, you see that, we're 3.49% overpriced here, 4.35% overpriced here. But really, the bookie's just saying there's a 50% chance that it goes the distance, 50% chance that it doesn't, and we're pricing it up at minus 115 a piece, right? So in that case, if you're getting 50% finishes in the division and the 2 fighters are finishing at a 50% rate, then you would expect to not really pay 50%. You'd expect to pay about 53.5. And that's exactly what we're paying here. So it's a fairly priced line. And we've got one other thing that I really like when I want a violence bet. How about all three of these guys' losses? 100% of them have finished inside the distance. Unless this fight is a draw, somebody has to lose. So we like the fact that these guys are getting finished in their losses. They're not finishing in their wins, though, and that's a little bit troublesome. But Bautista's a big favorite. He's finished 50% of his wins, and Lopez has been finishing his only loss. Now, Lopez hasn't finished anybody at the UFC level, but Bautista has been finishing both of his losses. So, I mean, it's a bet that I think is a solid bet. It's not overpriced, and I think that the stylistic matchup and the narrative things that you're mentioning there, Prince of Mischief, all work in the favor of a violence bet in that spot. So it gets the Uncle Weezy, bam, stamp of approval. The fight doesn't go to decision for Bautista Lopez at -115. And yes, and I agree that Bautista will be shaving ass. That being said, I still don't like that it's 5 rounds, says Bob. And I mean, dude, that's the problem. That's why I'm staying away from this fight. We're missing information. And the information that we're missing is, how is Amanda Lemos going to look in a 5-round fight? Because it's a 5-round fight, will she be less dangerous early? Will she be more likely to pace herself, maybe take that first round off, maybe just use that first round getting reads and figuring out the best ways to approach how to plant her feet and land that power shot against Marina, whether it's countering, whether it's stalking her, how does she want to land that big shot? Because that's what she wants to do here. Maybe she tries to grapple Marina, but that's an exhausting way to try to win a fight. And it's an exhausting way to try to win a 5-round fight, your first round 5-round fight that you just got to Vegas late night tonight, early today, because you couldn't get out of Brazil in time. So yeah, man, I don't, too much missing information for me. I'm staying away. My guy Ma says, Jenna, what's up? We got Papa Chuck saying Lori Lightfoot always looks like an extra for a Beetlejuice remake. Yeah. And I mean, people like, that's really cruel. Dude, just go. I mean, seriously, go look at the pictures. I mean, she's a dead ringer for Beetlejuice. 6-Man Film saying, dude, Maverick inside steamed up to even money now on Bovada. Yeah, dude, I think it opened around +140, and people were not shy about betting Maverick inside the distance at +140, and it's getting steamed, and it's got steamed so bad that I'm not chasing shit on this card, man. You're gonna have to really dangle something in front of me that's super interesting in order to even get me out of bed to bet this card, because this is one you just want to stay light on. We got so many more high-level fights and big sample sizes to deal with next week. I'll be able to find a lot more in the stats that lead me to find some advantages and some mispricing. So that'll be a beautiful thing. J772012 saying, hey, bro, question. Do you think Magny could get takedowns on D-Rod if the striking doesn't go his way? It's going to be tough, man. Magny doesn't have great wrestling. We can take a look at the stats here, of course, and we can see Magny's wrestling right here. These are Magny's fights, and these are the stats. So these are always available. $5 a month on the Patreon gets you all this. Now you can see here that, he's gotten 0, 1, 2, 1, 4 out of 7 against Robbie Lawler, 4 out of 7 against Li Jingliang, 6 out of 9 against Carlos Condit, who's got some of the worst takedown defense. He got 1 here, he got 1 here. 6 out of 14 against Gastelum, 4 out of 9 against Silva, and then when he started his career getting takedowns in damn near every fight except for the Sergio Moraes fight. And why would you take down a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion? So that was the only fight he wasn't attempting takedowns in. He didn't attempt to take down against Damian Maia. He didn't attempt to take down against Sergio Moraes, and he didn't attempt to take down against Rafael dos Anjos either. But every other fight except for the Rachmanov fight too, that he didn't really get going in that one. But only 4 of his fights has he not attempted a takedown. So Magny is going to mix it in. And he does pretty well. I mean, like, when he's not getting takedowns, he's losing a lot of those fights. In the Chiesa fight, he only got one takedown. In the Ponzinibbio fight, which he lost, he got none. In the Dos Anjos fight, he got none. He lost that fight. Yeah, he got no takedowns in the Lorenz Larkin fight. He lost that fight. He got no takedowns in the Damian Maia fight, lost that fight. And he got 2 takedowns in the Seth Pachinski fight, but he gave up 505 seconds of control time to Seth, so he lost that fight. So, look, this guy is losing fights when he doesn't get takedowns, plain and simple. So if he doesn't get takedowns against Daniel Rodriguez, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble, because Daniel's got really good boxing, and he wins minutes there, and he throws a lot of volume. And we do see the grappling defense here, 60% grappling offense, 76% takedown defense. His opponents, he's given up some takedowns to some guys. He gave up 3 takedowns in this fight. He gave up 2 takedowns in this fight, and he gave up 1 takedown in this fight. Those fights were the Tim Means, Mike Perry, and Kevin Lee fights, and he won every fight that he was taken down in, and he's never been controlled more than 200 seconds in a 900-second fight. So the dude is very, very difficult to hold down. As a result of that, Kevin Lee lost to him because he wasn't able to get his wrestling game going. And if Kevin Lee can't get his wrestling game going, it's going to be difficult for Magny to. But Magny's probably going to also work in some clinch work. He's going to box with him as well. But I think D-Rod's going to be the better boxer. I think he's going to be definitely landing the heavier shots. It's a tough fight to call, because I think that we're missing some information about D-Rod. Is he back 100%? There was, we saw him fight Jing Liang, but before that, it had been over a year since his last fight. He fought 4 times in 2020. He fought 3 times in 2021, and then he only fights once in 2022, has wrist surgery. Then he comes back from the wrist surgery, says he's ready to fight, and then the week of the fight says that he needs it to be moved from 170 to 180. And then after that fight, which he looked okay against Li Jingliang. I don't think he won that fight, but he showed that he belongs in there with a higher level guy like Jingliang, and he could fight close with him after this time off. But, after that, he's got another fight scheduled, and he has to pull out with staph infection on his elbow. That's only a couple of weeks ago that he had to pull out with that. So now you're rebooking the fight. Is he going to make 170 this time? Got to see him on the scale. So, I mean, as much as I think that it's a decent stylistic matchup for D-Rod, there's a lot of questions, man. Is the cardio going to be there? Is he fit? Is he healthy? And he's not getting any younger either. I mean, you guys are like, oh, Magny's old. Guess what? D-Rod's old. D-Rod's been in prison. Those are hard years. This guy's 35 years old, man. Born on New Year's Eve, 1986. So, Magny's 35 too, and a lot of people, they pick against him because Magny's old. Well, D-Rod's old too. So it's a fight that I'm pretty much staying away from. I think there's a lot of different ways that this fight could go. But if we see Daniel look like trash on the scales on Friday, might be time to take a shot on Neil Magny. And my guy says Jenna Marie. Mushroom, of course, she's mentioning there. And we got Martin Dermov saying D-Rod is God-level takedown. He does. He's got really good takedown defense for sure, Martin. There's no doubt about it. 76% on paper, but you see that, guys like Kevin Lee are unable to take this guy down and hold him down. So very difficult to get that going against a guy like D-Rod. Jacob saying, am I the only one liking Ramona Pasquale? No, I think if somebody said that they like Tamaris Vidal at minus 140, they'd be the only one. I think everybody's on the Pasquale side. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole at all. Just not touching it. But Pasquale's the plus money side, and that's usually the side that you want to be in on when it's low-level mixed martial arts. Hang on just a sec. Martin Durmov saying not Aldo or greased up deaf guy level takedown defense, but still very, very good. I'd be surprised if Magny gets him down. Yeah, I mean, he's not a greased up deaf guy, but look, he's going to be very difficult to take down and hold down, and he does have very good takedown defense. And Mushroom saying nope to Jacob. Papa Chuck saying if the UFC came back to Boise with this weekend's card, I would be in the front row. Boise is a 2.5 hour drive from me in the mountains of Idaho. Now that would be pretty cool because, yeah, I mean, like in Boise, you don't probably get a chance to do something like that very often. But we don't get a chance to do it often in Chicago either. So Papa Chuck brings up a great point. But yeah, man, this card it could be better. Let's just face it. It could be better. Martin Durmov saying, I'm with Ramona this week too as a gambling degenerate, sexiest Asian girl on the roster, says Martin. There you go, man. Pasquale, third round decision, says Mushroom. Jenna saying, what's up to her guy Patrick at the combat. Juicy Q in the room saying, I live 45 minutes north of Chicago and I'm not going back unless Weezy wants to have a beer before a UFC card. Yeah, dude. Yeah, there's a lot of people. My brother just left, he just left. He went to Indianapolis. He was like, fuck Chicago. There's a lot of people leaving. And where my dad is right now, and my dad has been, ever since he came from Greece at the age of 17, my dad lived in Chicago when he wasn't in the army in Germany. But yeah, he's always lived in Chicago, and he moved down to Florida. And he said where he's at in Florida, he just meets so many people from Chicago who are like, oh, dude, I'm just getting the fuck out of there before it becomes Detroit. It's people are leaving. People are flat out leaving. But maybe we can get a beer one of these days, Juicy Q. I know I got to get up to Kenosha to see my guy Patrick up there, man. Or Patrick, if the next time there's a card, hopefully he can come down and we can hang out and watch a card together because I made so many new friends in this space that I haven't been able to get together with these guys. I got to get together with Tim Troiano again because we got to hang out over by the airport at the casino, at Rivers Casino, and we only got to do it once, man. So got to make more time to get to watch the fights with the guys, man. Daz File saying D-Rod's last sub was Tim Means. Standing Gilly might sprinkle his sub for D-Rod. Yeah, it's not a bad look, man. Bob saying to Martin, please respect my girl, Nali. Please, nobody can beat that haircut. By the way, sorry, Brady, not trying to steal your girl. Mushrooms, I was thinking about getting behind Pasquale dog style. Now, of course, what Mushroom is referring to is what bettors call an underdog. See, the underdog in betting is the one that has the plus money number next to their to their odds. Just like Ramona Pasquale has a plus ass, it is going to be the plus money that is on the underdog side. So my guy Mushroom not making a double entendre there at all, really just trying to teach you about some of the lingo that us gamblers use every day. So nice work there, Mushroom. Jenna Marie saying, I did not know that. Maverick has to be handing out the ass shaving, right? Says Six Man Phillips. No, this week the ass shaving is going to be, and plus I don't do it with women anymore, with the ass shaving of the week, because I've just been let down too many times. The variance in women's MMA is just too much, and you want your most confident pick to be somebody that you don't have to worry about there being as much variance on. So it is going to be Mario Batista this week. I just think that Benito, if he came back and beat a guy of at Batista's level right now after 3 years and 3 months off, and really like we don't know what this guy's been doing, it would be very impressive. So yeah, I'm going with Batista. And I've really liked what I've seen from Batista in the cage. Like the kid is fucking good. Martin saying now Leon or Loma Bunmi, you have to pick one. Boy, those are some terrifying haircuts they have to pick between, man. It's like put in a curler for Christ's sake. Jenna Marie laughing at Mushroom. We got Bob saying, D-Rod ain't no Shavkat Rakhmonov. No, he is not, dude. Shavkat is Shavkat is definitely in a league of his own, man. Daz Files laughing, and Spikerman saying sexiest Asian girl on the roster was Yan Zhaonan after cashing that plus 235 versus Dern. I agree, man. That was a sexy cash at plus 235, man. No doubt about it. Bob Spikerman saying Pasquale over Hadley, over Sherman, over 1.5 Magny, over Madsen, over, let's fucking get it. Let's get it, dude. Pasquale over, I like that. Hadley over, I like that. The Sherman over 1.5, I like that. The Magny over, I like that. The Madsen over, just got to hope that Dawson doesn't get his back and choke him out. I think that's a great play, Bob. That one gets the Uncle Weezy, bam, stamp of approval for that parlay. Let's get it, man. Orochimaru saying, sucks that DeFranco's podcast has come to an end. They sort of hinted that it was due to the new UFC gambling rule. Fuck. I enjoyed hearing their professional analysis. Fuck sports books. I was crushed. I was fucking legit crushed when I heard that they weren't going to be doing that show anymore. I always like to get my show up before them because I don't like their analysis to sway mine. And it does a lot of the time. I hold both of those guys in such a high regard. And their show was fucking funny. They had a great chemistry between the two of them. And, you know, you learned a lot. You learned a lot by these guys being in the room with these top-notch fighters, coaching them, knowing, you know, how Santino goes about, you know, getting his fighters ready and, you know, what they work on there and how, you know, how they concentrate on fight IQ and cage wrestling and all these things that really make the biggest difference in whether you're going to win fights, you know, as a camp, as guys that train together. You know, are you all learning together? Are you learning from each other? Are you getting good advice? Are you doing your best? You know, and it seems like that's a place where Kelvin Gastelum just announced that he's going to Fight Ready. I mean, there's a lot of people that are just going there and they're saying, fuck this, man. We're going to Fight Ready. These guys are winning fights at an alarming rate. And there's something in the sauce there, man. They're getting the job done. So, fuck, man. I mean, I can't believe Santino and Brandon are done doing that show. I thoroughly enjoyed it, watching it every week. But, you know, life goes on. We were lucky to have them as long as we did. And they worked hard for us. They did great shows for us. We need to thank them for what they did. And remember the good times. Jenna saying, good night, my guys. Good night. Thanks for hanging out with us, Jenna. I appreciate you. We got Creep saying, yo, Weezy, what is the best spot you found on Stat Diggers you were eyeing this week? I mean, like, really, for me, it's the only spot that I really talked about a lot on Stat Diggers was just that Minner first round sub. I mean, when we look at the record for Derek Minner, right? And we'll go through all of his fights, but Minner. So Minner has 26 wins and 85% of them are by submission. So that would be 22 wins by submission, 1 by knockout, 3 by decision. So Derek Minner has 22 submission wins, right? See how many of them came outside the first round. Round one. Round two against Joey Munoz. Round one. Round two against Will Shutt. Round one. 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 So we just mentioned that he has 22 wins by submission. 20 of them are in the first round. 20. Dude, that I mean, 20 divided by 26. This guy, 77% of his win condition is first round sub. And at plus 800, you're getting a 12%. You know, I mean, if he's 40% to win this fight, you know, to get him at 12%, for what has been 75% of his win condition. We should probably be paying somewhere around, a 30% implied probability for that line. That's the one that I really had. I felt like the stats supported it, and they support it as well this way, Creep, because we've got Shailan Nurdimbeka as his opponent, and Shailan has 10 career losses. 8 of them are finishes, and 6 of them are by submission. So he got knocked out by Zhu Rong. He got subbed by Allison Barbosa, 12-6. He got subbed by Ruslan Emilbek, who's 10-1. He got subbed by Brian Tadeo, 0-1, but this was back in 2017. And he got subbed by Misael Silva back in 2017, 11-4. And he lost by Von Fluchoke to Nurdimbeka Bahetian in round 2. So, this guy's been finished. He's been finished a lot. Six career losses by submission, and to guys that aren't world beaters. Not to guys like Minner who have 20 career first-round submission wins on his resume. So that would be my favorite spot that I found in Stat Diggers, and I bet it for a half unit at plus 800 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Good night, Jenna says, Mushroom. We got Nacho Buddy Chief in the room saying, what's up, Weezy? What's up, buddy? It's good to see you in here, man. I love that Milton screen there. Prince of Mischief saying, Tim has a saying, to make stupid money, you have to make stupid bets. Plus 6,000. Walker round 1 sub. What's my stupid bet for this crap card, Weezy? Oh, I got a beauty. Hey, does plus 6,600 sound good? How about a draw in the Ramona Pascual Tamariz Vidal fight? Because neither one of them is good enough to win. Neither one of them is good enough to win a UFC fight. So I get to easily see this fight ending in a draw at plus 6,600. That's your Uncle Weezy's stamp of approval for the stupid bet of the week. Pascual Vidal draw. Let's get it, everybody. Victor De Jesus saying, oi, yes, what's up, Weezy in chat? Sorry I'm late, Unc. Been stupid busy at work. Once the stream is over, I'll rewatch from the beginning. Happy Sherman versus Parisian fight week, everybody. Good to see you in here, Victor. Thanks for hanging out, brother. Always good to have you in here supporting. We got Bob Spikerman saying good luck to Victor. Mushroom saying, Victor, what's up? Prince of Mischief saying, what's up to Victor? We got Prince of Mischief saying, content idea. Weezy unboxes UFC cards. ID watch. That would be pretty cool, man. I don't have any UFC cards. I should get some, man. Nigel Lee, a.k.a. at Money Bank Lock, saying, what's up, gang? I'm late from cashing tickets. Dude, you're never late to class when you're cashing tickets before class. Nigel, good to see you hanging out, man. Prince of Mischief saying, do you ever think the name for a sports bar? No, I haven't. I haven't thought of that yet. I got nothing, man. Got to come up with something. I just have not thought of it. Jarno saying D-Rod Moneyline plus 100 is tempting. It is kind of, man. I mean, but I've got to see him on the scale, Jarno. I don't think that line is going to move very much. So wait to see him on the scale. I thought it was just extremely troubling that he asked for a 180 last time out. And that was just recently a staph infection between that fight and now, which has caused this one to be rebooked. Wait to see him on the scale. And if he looks good on the scale, then I would endorse it. Victor, what's up? Says, what's up to Mushroom? We got Lauren Williams in the room saying, let's get it. What's up, Lauren? Thanks for hanging out. We got Tommy saying, I got Rodriguez unanimous decision or TKO in the third round. There won't be a fourth. Oh, you got Marina Rodriguez unanimous decision or TKO in the third or fourth round. Okay, I don't mind it, man. I think Rodriguez is definitely the better minute winner. She's a fantastic at maintaining a range in the distance striking. She's accurate. She's good defensively. She's never been knocked down. She's durable. So yeah, and she's mean in the clinch. I think she's really good there. Great elbows up close. Great Muay Thai striking from Marina Rodriguez. So, yeah, I don't mind that at all. Antonio Esparza saying, when was the last max bet you placed on a title fight and won, Weezy? Well, I mean, I guess it was just the other day. I mean, like it was UFC 280 because I had the fight doesn't go to decision max bet for a Makachev versus Oliveira. So I cashed that max bet. I had a 4.5 unit bet on Martin Budai money line a while back, but that was definitely not a title fight. Martin Budai versus Lucas Bresky was not a title fight. But yeah, the last title fight that I had a max bet on was that one, and I cashed it. What is Maverick inside the distance at right now? Let's find out. Maverick inside the distance plus 100 now on both Bet Online and DraftKings, but we can see here it opened at plus 140. It went to plus 125 almost immediately, then to plus 120. Was there for a while, bet down to 110. Now bet down to plus 100. So, yeah, I'm not betting on women's flyweight fights finished inside the distance 40% of the time. To take one fighter to win inside the distance at a 50% implied probability, no thanks. Not good enough for me. Not rich enough. At plus 140, maybe it might have been worth taking a shot, but yeah, I'm staying away, man. These juiced up women's fights, I just think it's risky, man. Also, I've been waiting for a story time. Yeah, if you guys didn't check the story time, the last one that I did was on Stat Diggers this week. If you just go about 5 or 10 minutes in, it is the Tamaris Vidal versus Ramona Pascual breakdown. This week's Stat Diggers on Pub Sports Radio. There was a very special story time with Uncle Weezy, which brought you back to Women's Rush 1994 or 5, I believe, probably 1994 at Northern Illinois University. Fun stuff, man. So Brady, check that out on Pub Sports Radio. But wait until Ask Weezy is over. And if you guys haven't hit that thumbs up button yet, please do that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do that. I'm very close to 2,000 subscribers here. Appreciate each and every one of you. And it's always good to just have you guys in here talking fights with us. We got 33 of you live hanging out here for Ask Weezy. I appreciate you all. And sign up for the Patreon, man. Might as well. Brady Stevens plus 110 says, Daz Files, you're getting better lines than the books that I have access to, but that's good. Bob saying Lemos involved Charles Oliveira style since she got that slick, lighter blonde haircut, which I like so much on her. Slick hair Lemos is a monster. Yeah, man, for sure. That blonde dye job. There's something about the Brazilians, the blonde dye. They all love it, man. Nigel Lee saying, if y'all don't know, my bets across all sports been hotter than fish grease. Yeah. Nigel getting it, man. I love to see that you're cashing tickets, man. It's always a great thing. Money won is twice as sweet as money earned. Prince of Mischief 2225 saying, here's a stat for you. Rodriguez is 2-0 against women named Amanda, Hibas, and Torres. Will it be 3-0? Yeah, well, the books seem to think that she's going to be winning this fight, so we're going to have to wait and find out, man. Lamar Lockett saying, hey, Weezy, which fights do you think can end in sub? I think the Jinyu Fry Poliana Viana fight can end in sub. I believe the Mario Batista Lopez fight can end in sub. Minner Nerd and Becca can definitely end in sub. Any Grant Dawson fight can end in sub. And Candelario Hadley could potentially end in sub. So could Munoz Jr. versus Shalinian because Munoz is a very good grappler. A lot of great sub opportunities on this card, but I would say the two favorites are Viana. Three favorites. Minner would be the first. Viana would be the second, and Mario Batista would be the third. Those are my three favorite sub props of the week. Tagir maybe, Hadley maybe. Yeah, they're oh yeah, and Maverick too. Maverick, but I mean, dude, the Maverick sub prop there's no meat on that bone, unfortunately. Bob's saying, damn, no way I can trust Maverick if her takedowns don't land. Her striking sucks. And also her takedown game is not that impressive to me. And at this line, it's madness. Yeah, dude, I mean, it's just too wide. And I don't think Shanna Young is necessarily worthy of a bet here either. So, yeah, I'm just going to stay away, enjoy the fight. Mushroom saying, what's up to Nigel? We got Prince of Mischief saying, I found something interesting on DraftKings, same game parlay. So Maverick subs plus 165, but on their same game parlay section, Maverick sub is plus 205. Yeah, see, you find those nice little inefficiencies sometimes, and you might as well go there. Yeah, Maverick to win and by submission plus 205 in the same game parlay. Hit that instead of just Maverick sub at plus 165. That's their mistake. Take advantage of it. Nigel Lee saying everyone needs to stop talking about prison and D-Rod is hard because of it. I've been depending where you served your time. It was all that tough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've never been, so I don't pretend to know about it. But what we do know is what he's done in the cage, and that he's basically won all of his fights. I mean, he got Dalby got handed that fight against him. I don't know how, but he did. But Rodriguez won that fight. So the guy's a great fighter. He's almost undefeated as a professional. Non-addictive saying, how likely is the Madsen upset? His media day interview was pretty convincing. Yeah, look, I mean, he just needs to keep Grant Dawson off his back. If he keeps Grant Dawson off of his back 2 out of 3 rounds, he's got a great chance to win this fight. The problem is that Grant Dawson gets on everybody's back at least 2 rounds out of 3. And a lot of times once he gets to your back, he finishes you. And Dawson has just been incredibly efficient at being able to do that over a very large sample size of fights. And everybody knows what Grant Dawson's going to do coming in, but he still is getting 55% control time, 25 of 72 on takedowns. Now, that's pretty crazy, because with 55% control time, I mean, that's like 57 minutes of control. And that's on only 25 takedowns. So that means that this guy takes you down. He's averaging about 2 minutes of control time with each takedown, which means when he gets you down, he keeps you there. And you usually stay there for the very full round. So we don't know what Madsen's takedown defense looks like in the UFC cage. He's only faced 2. He gave up 1, and he's only yielded 1.73% control time. But he's never faced an opponent like Dawson where the game plan is always the same. Get to the guy's back. Just get to his fucking back. And once he does, he's going to win the round. And the entire time, once he's on your back, you have to be so defensively responsible that it basically leaves you in a position where you know you have to just ride out the round. So I don't know if Mark can keep him off his back. If he can, I think he wins a striking match here. I think he's the far better striker. Grant doesn't strike. I mean, this guy's fights, in an 8-fight sample size, almost 100 minutes in the UFC cage, are taking place at striking range, about 35% of the time. And that's Grant Dawson who's doing that. He's the one initiating the wrestling. He's attempted 72 takedowns, and Grant's opponents have attempted 5. And Grant's yielded 3 of 5. So maybe Madsen will be the one to actually initiate the grappling. And that could be another path to victory for him. I'll tell you one thing I fucking know for sure. Mark Madsen is stronger than this dude. Like, Mark Madsen is probably stronger than most of the 185-pounders in the UFC. This guy, according to Santino DeFranco, rest in peace, that awesome podcast. But according to Santino, Mark Madsen is literally the strongest man that he's ever been on a mat with, ever. And, it's not surprising, because Greco-Roman wrestling is something that, you do need to be very strong in order to get those high amplitude throws. So it's the best fight on the card by a fucking mile, Madsen Dawson. And I would rather be on the plus money side because it's just too much money to lay on Dawson on short notice against a quality wrestler like Mark Madsen. So I certainly don't hate anybody taking the dog shot on Mark Madsen. And if this thing goes up to past plus 200 to 210 or whatever, I might have to just fucking jump on. What's up to Mushroom, says Nigel. We got, and ring a ding ding. We got the donation. I wasn't sure if we were going to get one today, but we got one from my man Jay saying, thoughts on Batista points handicap minus 3.5, minus 165. Could finish, and I think if a decision, he wins all the rounds. So, God, man, minus 165, huh? Because that's right now, you're looking at a 62% implied probability, something like that at minus 165, maybe 63. I've never really played those points handicaps, but the one thing we know about this guy Lopez, he's been in close fights, split decisions, very, very close fights for Benito Lopez. So if that Benito Lopez shows up, the same version that we saw all those years ago, it's possible he keeps his fight very close and it winds up being a split decision. See, look. Lopez's 4 fights, all wins are by decision, right? 54, 78, 77 strikes for Benito, 64, 78, and 82. So look, I mean, like, even in the fight that he lost by submission, he landed 7, his opponent landed 7. But he got outlanded by 10 and 1. He was 78-78 with this one here in 1, and 77-82. So, I think Benito, I don't think I would do that points handicap, especially not at that kind of juice there, Jay, simply because Benito Lopez has been a guy who doesn't really shoot for takedowns. And if Bautista is not taking this guy down and holding him down, it's probably going to be a close striking match, technical striking match. And these judges are fucking trash. So I wouldn't want to be, and that's another thing. Now, if you're playing those points handicaps, now those bets are really only coming into effect when the judges are involved, which means the judges are involved. So it's man, I don't think I'd do that one, Jay. I don't think that. I think I would just pick Bautista inside the distance, get that at plus money instead of laying juice, and then just assuming that that's his best path is just getting this guy out of there and leaving the judges completely out of it. Bob Spikerman saying, but thank you for the donation, Jay. Much appreciated, dude. Bob Spikerman saying, off Dawson train after Santos and Glenn fights. Since he moved up to lightweight, he just looks so slow and bulky. At these numbers, I got to take Madsen. Madsen beat Pichel and my bet, which is not easy. Yeah, dude, Pichel is a great win. Great win. The Clay Guida win was a good win. Madsen's a fucking tough motherfucker. So it's going to be a great fight. Brian is in here taking notes. What's up, man? We got Victor De Jesus saying that Prince of Mischief. What's up, brother? Sorry I didn't see your shout out earlier. And my guy Lotus T City Ortega, ring a ding ding. The dude made a donation yesterday that I did not see. And he asked me about the stupid haircut fade, which he's bringing up right now. The stupid haircut fade was alive and well last week with C-Rod schooling Weems. I mean, what a terrible haircut Weems had. Yeah, dude, you're right. Teal hair. And we know that Benito Lopez used to do that half blonde, half black bullshit. But it looks like the hair's all black this week. But you never know. He might dye it just for the fight. So if he does, that would be a great fade. Fade the real estate agent with the shitty haircut. What else do we have for bad haircuts on this one here? Bautista might have had some questionable things that went into mullet territory in the past, so I got to be careful. Tamaris Vidal has a terrible haircut. It's a disgrace. It's not good, man. Candelario and Hadley, haircuts you could set your watch to. Munoz and Shalinian, haircuts you could set your watch to. Good stuff there. No, we're not fading either of those guys. Viana Fry, beautiful heads of hair on both of those ladies. Bautista Lopez looking good, I mean, we got to make sure Bautista doesn't come in with some ratty ass mullet, but otherwise I'm going to have to change my ass shaving of the week to somebody else. Maverick Young, good haircuts on these ladies. Minner Nerdenbecka. Nerdenbecka's doing the best he can with what he has. Because when you grow it out, doesn't matter if you're a dude or a chick, you probably just wind up looking like Na Leon. And it's just that straight, bold Damien from the Omen haircut, man. It's just, I had a haircut like that when I was a kid, just perfectly straight brown hair. And my parents, they didn't get creative with the hair. I just kind of had like that straight ass hair. And I remember seeing some of the old pictures and be like, man, why would you let me go around with a haircut like that? That's on you. I was like 4. I couldn't help it, but yeah, that's a bad one. But Nerdenbeck is doing the best he can. I don't have a problem with Minner's hair. Madsen and Dawson, beautiful stuff. Ulanbekov, Manis, good hair. Sherman Parisian, good enough hair. Magni Rodriguez, beautiful hair on both of those gentlemen. Amanda Lemos, beautiful head of hair. Yeah, man, we don't really have one this week. I mean, maybe if Benito Lopez brings back that shit, or I might have to change my ass shaving pick if it's Bautista showing up in a mullet. We'll have to see, man. Prince of Mischief saying, no problem, Victor. Go get your money, brother. Good luck to you this weekend. And Brian is in here taking notes. We got Antonio Esparza saying, is Chase Sherman by KO at plus 140? Plus 140? Jesus. What? Or Sherman by TKO decision at minus 140. Good prices. Sherman. I see Sherman out there right now at like minus 130. So I would just take the money line for Sherman because Sherman could win a decision. Parisian is durable, and Parisian's going to be trying to take Chase down. If he does that enough, it can make it a greasy enough fight that this thing does go to decision. I think Chase can absolutely win a decision here. Now, Chase has won all but one of his professional fights inside the distance by knockout. But he's not this crazy one-punch, one-hitter quitter type of power guy in this division. It's attritional. It's leg kicks. It's good boxing, something that very few heavyweights actually have is good boxing. And Chase Sherman's one of the ones that does. So Parisian throws more spinning techniques. He throws kind of like some wild stuff. He tries to mix in that wrestling. He's very tough. He's very durable. I wouldn't play with the Sherman by KO. Like I say, he had all but one of them are KO wins, but I mean, it's a little bit tricky. He's not beating the best level UFC competition here. This guy Parisian is pretty fucking durable. So I would just take that Chase Sherman money line at around minus 130, minus 125 here, minus 125 here. Yeah. And if you get the TKO decision better than that, but not much better than that, just take the money line. You never know, dude. Anyone can finish a guillotine choke. Anyone can finish a rear naked choke at the UFC level. They know how to do that shit. They know their techniques. So if they're not paying you enough to leave that option out, just take it. 6-man films. No one mentioning Maverick has already beat Young by sub in round 1. No less 29. Yeah, dude. That fight, Shannon Young actually dropped Miranda Maverick in the first round. And when that happened, Miranda recovered very quickly and said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm taking this girl down. And then as soon as she did that, she kind of got Young's ass backed up against the cage. And then she didn't really have anywhere to go. She shot in on a double leg, got her down, eventually got to the back and choked her out. So, yeah, Maverick's done this before. That's why the line is where it's at. Maybe Shannon Young pulls a rabbit out of her hat. But I don't think so, man. I think Miranda's probably going to do a similar thing that she did the first time. Antonio Esparza saying, is there any fighter at plus 200 odds or greater than that you're betting this week or like to win outright? No, I mean, like close right now is Mark Madsen at plus 195. Derek Minner at plus 180, I think, has a legitimate shot to win this fight. And I bet Minner to win by first round sub at plus 800. I don't like Benito Lopez's chances this week. Jinyu Fry's not a big underdog. Ludovic Shalinian at plus 200. I think, the thing about Munoz is I just don't know if this guy's any good. If we go through the record of Johnny Munoz Jr. with a fine tooth comb, This guy was crushing cans in King of the Cage. You know, I mean, like King of the Cage is fucking super low level. You know, he's only got 13 fights. He's excellent jiu-jitsu, good wrestling. But look at the names, right? He's got his biggest win. His best win is his UFC win over Jamie Simmons, who's not great, you guys. Before that, it's Ian King. It's Renton Atkantulga. And Atkantulga took that fight on 24 hours notice, and it was a 5-round fight. And Munoz couldn't even get this 25er out of there. And there was something else about that fight that I thought was odd. With the short notice, 125-pound guy, this guy Gantulga, I don't think has won a fight since then. Yeah, he's 4-3. You know, and Munoz can't get this guy out of there on 24 hours notice. And then you look at the other names: Uriel Dominguez, Anthony Zender, Mauricio Diaz, Zane Douglas, Musa Tolliver, Gore Minat Saknanian, Minat Sakananian. Minat Sakananian. Who the hell is he? You know, Carlos Galvan, Jesus Rivas, Josh Gay, Chris Lucia, and Arsenio White as amateurs. You know, so there's not one name on there that's a recognizable name other than Jamie Simmons, and he might have even lost round 1 to Simmons. You know, it's Ludwig Shalinian has at least a win over a guy in Vince Cachero before he got to the UFC, where you could be like, and he lost that first round to Cachero. He's got a win over Yuma Horiuchi, who's a legit guy. He beat Raposo in the house, won the last 2 rounds of that fight. He won the last 2 rounds of the Cachero fight. You know, he's at least fought some guys and has wins over guys in Raposo, Horiuchi, and Cachero, where you're like, okay, those are decent wins. And yeah, he lost to Tercios, you know, but Tercios is, you know, a pretty good striker, and you know that wasn't exactly like an ass kicking. It was a close fucking fight. And then Jack Shore is, you know, Johnny Munoz Jr. is not Jack Shore, you guys. Jack Shore is completely different level. Jack Shore is 14-0, and Jack Shore is beating guys, you know. So I mean, there's no fucking way I'm laying what people are laying on Johnny Munoz Jr. here. Maybe Munoz by submission at plus 400 or better, I think would be a decent way to play it. But, you know, Shalinian's a good wrestler and a good grappler in its own right. The striking's okay. It's below average, but so is Munoz's. So, yeah, that's one guy that I even think Shalinian is kind of live, but I'm not going to get to the window to bet it. I think Hadley Cruz's. I love his grappling, and I hate Candelario's takedown defense. Nigel Lee's got a hot take. There will be some sort of scandal soon with James Krause and gambling. While doing tape, I've come to the conclusion that Krause is betting on his own fighters, convinced. Well, he's actually said so much. He said that he had $3 million riding on David Onama. So he's absolutely betting on his own fighters. Now, is he doing it through some kind of a syndicate or through other people's accounts? You know, that's another story. That's different. But yeah, he was betting on his own fighters. I mean, I really don't think that there's anything wrong with betting on your own fighters, but I see how the UFC could say, you know, that this optically looks bad, and because of that, we're just not going to let you do it if you want to be affiliated with us. So, it's going to be an interesting thing going forward how the UFC deals with that. What's an early pick you have for the upcoming pay-per-view that's confident? Let's look at that. So, UFC 281. Izzy Pereira. Oh, I think Weili Zhang is going to destroy Carla Esparza. like Gutierrez over Frankie Edgar. I think Frankie Edgar is completely done. Let's see. Conor Liddell, that'll be fun. Yes, and Blanchfield McCann. What's that line on Petrosky Turman? I think Turman's probably the better striker there. He's a fucking good grappler in his own right, but obviously going to be homeboy with the better wrestling. Our Philly guys got the wrestling. Yeah, Petrosky's minus 200. I think Turman at plus 176 is actually an interesting play. Don't forget, people had such little faith in Andre Petrosky that they had him lined at one point at plus 350 versus Nick Maximov. So this is another situation where I bet Petrosky at plus 230 or like no, it was like plus 275, and I was laughing. I'm like, how the fuck is he plus 275? The next day I woke up, he was plus 350. I couldn't believe it. But, I bet Petrosky when he was plus 275, but like here, I mean, I don't know if he should be minus 200 against Wellington Turman. I think that plus money number on Turman is pretty fat. I've got to look. I got to rewatch that last fight with Kovalevich. But if Kovalevich can get takedowns against Silvana Gomez-Juarez, I think she'll win that fight. I think Alberg should probably kick the shit out of fucking Negumereanu. I think this is the first guy that Negumereanu has faced that can actually strike. That's actually, it's got a kickboxing pedigree, but Negumereanu is a tough test because the guy's got a brick for a head. He's incredibly durable. He walks forward and he just marches you down. So we'll have to see how Alberg deals with pressure there. Frivola against Azatar. I hope they're fucking testing the shit out of this cheater. Azatar claims that somebody was scaling a fucking hotel wall up to the 5th floor to bring him potatoes. My fucking ass. What a lie that is. And Quick Jackson over Julio Arce. So yeah, it must be it's an even numbered year, 2022. So we're going to see Montel Jackson once every fucking 2 years, and he has graced us with his presence here in November. Good to see Montel Quick Jackson again. We'll see him again in 2025. I think that Turman at plus money is a good spot. What's the line on Zhang? Why isn't that here? Future events? Zhang's minus 325. Jesus. I'm gonna have to do more research for sure, but those are the spots that I like so far. Shayway saying Paliana Viana, Ugly Bob's ratio, the reason I'm fading her. Ugly Bob's rattle. I have no idea what that means, Shayway. Headley one saying, Nigel, betting on your own fighters was allowed until recently. Ethically, I'm sure he never bet on his fighter to lose. Yeah, hopefully. Izzy or Alex Pereira? I mean, Christ, man. I think I don't know. I really don't know, you guys. Izzy, if he can wrestle at all, should easily be able to beat Pereira. The fact that Pereira is getting this title shot is something that the UFC clearly wanted. I'm almost convinced that they paid Sean Strickland not to shoot takedowns because I don't even think Sean Strickland is that reckless. And I mean, Sean Strickland might be the most reckless human being on the face of the planet, but I don't even think he's that reckless and stupid as to just sit there in front of fucking Pereira and think that he's not going to get knocked out. But that's exactly what he did. To get, I mean, I can't believe Alex Pereira is getting a title shot, but Izzy's the one title guy that, you would say, if the guy's a better striker than Izzy, you just can't count on Izzy to wrestle. And Pereira's already beaten this dude twice. So I think it'll be hilarious if Izzy actually wrestles because I don't think he'll be able to fucking do it successfully. I mean, he doesn't shoot takedowns at all. So He's been saying he wants to show his submission game. I don't think he has one. I guess I'm picking Pereira plus 147, but I mean, I don't have any faith in that dude as a mixed martial artist, so I don't think I would lay a bet on him. As far as the thoughts on Tagir by sub at plus 420 or by points at minus 105, are those prices worth betting on? I think Tagir by sub is something I would much rather take a shot on at plus 420 because I don't think the guy is very trustworthy, but I also know that he's training with the right people. And that, if he has a good performance, he's probably going to fucking destroy Nate Maness. But if Nurmagomedov couldn't get Maness out of there, I don't know if Ulanbekov can. So, fuck, man. I mean, I'm not touching that fight until I see Nate Maness on the scale. That's the best answer I can give you, Antonio, because it's just completely irresponsible to bet until we see what Nate looks like on the scale. This is his first fight at 125. Guys fought at 145, even 155, I think, before. So for him to cut down to 125 is a huge risk. It's a lot of missing information that we don't have. We don't know how it's going for him. We'll find out tomorrow, or we'll find out on Friday. But yeah, I'm staying away. Six Man saying, I threw 15 on a draw in the Pasquale versus Vidal on your Hail Mary suggestion. Also, your breakdown of that fight was epic. I appreciate you. Yeah, I broke it down differently on Stat Diggers, and I broke it down beautifully, I think, on Just the Tip. But they're both breakdowns that are worth watching, I would say. More than any other breakdown that you'll see any other capper doing on that fight this week. I am fucking touting myself right there. Prince of Mischief saying Paul Craig versus Walker is official Brazil card. Oh, nice. That'll be fun. Wow, that's a fun stylistic matchup. I like that one, man. Speaking of Maximov, what about thoughts on him getting released by the UFC? I don't think it's a problem for Nick. Nick's very young. And he can go back to LFA and he can rack up some wins. But I think he's hurt right now. I know he definitely got hurt in that fight against Malkoun. Fucking shame, because that was going to be a great fight. And I wanted to see Nick Maximov 100% and be able to, make that a wrestling match and see who came out on top. But he clearly got hurt early in that fight. He's going to have to rehab. He's going to have a couple of rehab fights, and he'll be back. Nick Maximov will be back. Antonio Esparza saying, Carla is my sister, Weezy. Please convince me that she's going to win. Please, by the way, I'm joking, LOL. Look, Carla's a great wrestler, really good wrestler. But Wei Li looks to have taken it to the next level. She looked dominant in her last performance against Young Jacek. She looked like she was double parked and was trying to get out of there as fast as possible. She looked like a savage. And I just don't think Carla has anything for her, because really all you have to worry about with Carla is the wrestling. And frankly, I think Wei Li's going to fucking just throw her around the cage. She looks like a beast right now. And yeah, but at that line, it's not like I'm betting Wei Li either. I don't lay that kind of juice on women's MMA ever. So, I mean, if I do wind up betting this fight, it'll probably be Esparza by decision, and I can just hope it's like Esparza versus Rose 2. Eric D, LOL, what Azatar do? So on Fight Island, Atman Azaitar, when they were on Fight Island, it was when the COVID protocols were at their most stringent. You had to get to the island. You could only bring like 2 people or 1 coach with you. Everybody had to be tested and quarantined prior to being on the island, right? So everybody that's on the island is accounted for and in the hotel. The Azatars had somebody sneak onto the island, and this guy's got a backpack. He's got a duffel bag around his neck, and he's spotted actually climbing the hotel walls, moving like scurrying along the balconies over to the Azaitar's room. And then this guy, he's being watched by security. He leaves the Azaitar's room after going in through the balcony, goes out through their door, and then leaves the hotel in a hurry. but he doesn't have the bag that he was seen scaling the fucking hotel with. So everybody's asking what's in the bag, what's in the bag. And I mean, clearly, I mean, these guys are absolutely juice heads. They're rampant cheaters, him and his brother, both of them complete and total juice heads. So they just got caught cheating at that time. And but they brought back Atman because he's such a juicer. When he hits people, they go down. And he's fun to watch. He's got those steroided up knockouts that he lands. And yeah, I hope they test the shit out of this guy, because the fact that he's back, somebody who everybody knows is just a fucking cheater. It's hilarious, but I hope Frivola fucking destroys this guy. But Azaitar is, the guy who's got a puncher's chance. We'll see how he does, but they should be testing the shit out of this guy. And Prince of Mischief saying, I can believe Sean is that reckless. Even his coach Nixick mentioned that he had to try and convince Sean not to stand with Alex, but Sean decided not to, as we saw by the KO. Yeah, dude. I mean, Sean's a wild man, dude. Weezy, can you tell us how we can sub to your Patreon? I'm new to this and I don't know where to go to do so. So it is, if you see what's on the ground, on the ticker there, on the very bottom of the screen, it's patreon.com/Uncle Weezy. That'll bring you to my page. And right there on that page, you can subscribe to the Patreon. It's $5 a month, which gets you the basic stats that we always see on just the tip. And I also do this DraftKings tab for DFS players that has all of their work rates, their striking work rates, their grappling work rates, how many points they score per fight, how many points their fights score total, the betting lines, so that you can figure out how to multi-enter tournaments and things like that. And, we've got the advanced stats for each fighter that's on the card. This is the Rodriguez versus Lemos matchup. So you can see all of their stats, not only the totals, which we have over here, but also their fight-by-fight stats, the stats that they got, and their opponent's stats are over here on the far right. So you can see what they're doing offensively and defensively. And then we put those stats in the matchup template next to each other so you can see how they compare against each other. So, yeah, go to patreon.com/Uncle Weezy. And right there, Antonio, you can subscribe to the Patreon. And I would appreciate anybody that does that. It's a great way to support my work if you enjoy what I do. Prince of Mischief saying, Antonio, it's in the description and on the link on the ticker, scrolling banner. Absolutely right. Thanks for the heads up there. I'll laugh my ass off if Craig knocks off Walker. Dude, that would be ridiculous if Paul Craig knocked out Johnny Walker. I would be absolutely blown away if that happened. But that, this is this sport, man. This fucking sport. You never say something can't happen. Never say, I'll dye my hair pink if that happens, because it's going to fucking happen. Thanks, Prince. I didn't see that. Yeah, it's all right, man. I love Craig, but Walker needs to avoid one thing. I think Walker can keep it on the feet long enough to get a win. Yeah, dude, he hits like a fucking truck, dude. Azaitar really needed those potatoes. I know, man. Usman, why not just go in through the entrance? Because nobody was allowed. The whole hotel was locked down, Usman, because of the COVID protocols. They were trying to put on events and be safe. And take the fighter's safety. So everybody was being put in quarantine for a week before they were even allowed on the island. So nobody was allowed in the hotel. The hotel was just having people that were involved with the UFC. So if you weren't on the list, you weren't able to get there. And you couldn't bring steroids into the quarantine because you were going to be there for a week. And I'm sure they probably had somebody searching to make sure that whatever supplements, whatever you were taking there was USADA friendly. So that's why they had to bring somebody on the island that wasn't supposed to be there. And that's why the dude had to climb the fucking gutter up 4 or 5 floors to get to them. So just a wild scene. Steroids are legal in Abu Dhabi. Oh yeah. Well, they're not legal in the UFC. Benoit St. Denis versus Joe Solecki is also official. Wow. That'll be a fun fight. Both of those guys are fantastic grapplers. Brian taking notes. Worth It saying, you the man, Weezy. Oi, what's up, Worth It? Thanks for hanging out, man. Dope Space Cowboy, not a great card for betting. Hopefully it's a surprise banger card. Usually a lot of these wind up being really fun when, they don't look like these great name value cards, but you got a lot of fighters that are fighting for their future, and they put on great shows. So hopefully this is one of those, man. Antonio saying, am I crazy to sprinkle Madsen by sub at plus 1,600? Let's see if Madsen has ever won a fight by sub in his career. I know he's gotten a guillotine at one point. I remember on his tape watching him get a guillotine. So Mark Madsen actually has 3 wins by submission in his career. 3 wins by knockout, 6 wins by decision. And at the UFC level, he's got 1 knockout and 3 decisions. Grant Dawson has never been submitted in his career, but he has had several submission attempts attempted against him. Mark Madsen has never attempted a submission at the UFC level, so it would be a long shot, but at plus 1,600, I think you know what you're getting yourself into. You know that a bet like that, if you want to break even, you only got to hit it about 1 every 16 times, so it's not the worst thing to do, but, you make it a very, very small bet, but yeah, I don't like Madsen to submit Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson's a fantastic grappler. But I think he's much more likely to knock him out if he does win inside the distance. Double O potato, you got that right. It was bag potato, brother. Yeah, for sure it was, man. Could change bag of oranges to bag of potatoes. I love it. Phantom Mischief saying Anthony Smith versus Jamal Hill is rumored to happen, but nothing official. I think I saw something saying Jamal Hill fight news coming soon. So Anthony Smith would be a good matchup for him, man. That'd be a good step up for Jamal, and I'd love to see him fight him, man. We got Antonio saying, hey, I'm just curious, but did you bet on any Khabib fight? And do you miss watching him fight? Yeah, I bet on him against Conor. I bet on him. I don't know if I had any tracked bets on him because I just started tracking at the end of last year, around like September of 2021. So I don't know if I have any track bets on Khabib, but I the one thing I never was a fan of his, but I am also aware that like fighters like him that are so dominant, you might as well just bet on him. I mean, if you can't beat him, join him, man, and just you could root for the other team and then root for the other fighter. And if they win, you lose your bet. But at least then you saw the fighter that you didn't really care for that much lose. But if he's going to win and you don't want to see him win, you might as well make some money on it. And I definitely did that. Khabib is the kind of fighter, the archetype of fighter that I want to be betting on. Guys that fight to their strengths and to their opponent's weaknesses. They bring great wrestling, dominant top control, great ground and pound, and they just break dudes. And that's what Khabib does. Eric D is in the room saying, bro, you killed me when you were analyzing UFC 280 and said Charles is existing and Islam is the opposite. Yeah, man, dude, Islam is just unbelievable. It's that guy, the performance he put on, his striking looked so much better than I've ever seen it look. And if his striking looks that good, I mean, this guy is absolutely terrifying. I don't think, I really don't think that this guy's going to lose for a very long time. Who's beating Islam Makhachev, man? I don't know. It will really be something. Weezy, tell me you love Petrosky against Turman for next week. Not at minus 200. I don't, Vic. I can't tell you I like Petrosky at minus 200 versus Wellington Turman because Turman has got excellent Brazilian jiu-jitsu, very, very good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So, and his striking is at least as good, if not better. Remember, he was piecing up Sam Alvey in that fight. If he hadn't poked him in the eye 3 times, he would have won all 3 rounds cleanly against Alvey. And Petrosky doesn't have great striking. So I think Turman's live actually at the plus 170 number right now. Do I think John Jones will ever fight again? Probably not. Probably not. I just don't think it's going to happen, man. I don't even think people care about him anymore because he's just been talking a bunch of shit lately, but he just vacated his belt. I don't think John Jones gives a shit anymore. So I don't really care if we see him fighting. I mean, we've seen the best of John Jones. His best years are far behind him. But in my opinion, I think he's the greatest of all time. So loved watching John Jones. He's one of the people that made me passionate about this sport. But I just don't think he'll ever fight again. Low T City saying McKinney versus Ismael Bonfim, official for Brazil. So I think Bonfim is one of the Contender Series guys that looked really good. But I'm glad to see Terrence McKinney, man. God, he's so much fun. I want to see Terrence McKinney fight every damn month. Like and subscribe, says Prince of Mischief. Please do that. Thank you. Why in God's green earth is Ulberg the favorite next week? He's awful at fighting. I'm hammering Negamarianu. Negamarianu is not very good at fighting either. He's not technical. But he's got a brick for a head. He walks forward. He can take an enormous amount of punishment. Extremely tough. And his punches are straight. So he's good enough to win fights at 205. But we're going to have to see how Ulberg deals with the pressure, like I said earlier, man. I like what I've seen from Negamarianu, but he's just a blunt object. He's not technical at all. And I think that in a big cage, Ulberg might dance around this dude and might make him look silly. We'll have to see how it goes, but I think Ulberg's actually going to win that fight. Usman saying Terrence McKinney might be the best 1.5-minute fighters of all time. There's no question about that, man. I mean, the guy is incredible, and he finishes dudes so fast, and he fights like he's triple parked. I love it. Eric saying, I'm betting on Poirier next week. I don't see a way Chandler wins. Yeah, man, that'll be a fun fight too. I have to look more into that one, but that's a great fight. Look, I appreciate you guys for hanging out tonight. Thank you for the donation, my guy Jay. Thank you. How many we got hanging out in here right now? We got 35 of you guys hanging out. One of the trashiest cards of the year. I'm hanging it up for this week. This is not a good card, but UFC 281 is coming up next week. I'm going to get an early start on these stats, try to have them out to everybody on the Patreon tomorrow so that we can get a head start and stack cash tickets like flapjacks for not just UFC Vegas 64 this weekend, but UFC 281 next weekend. Thank you all. God bless each and every one of you. Get out there and join that Patreon, and I will see you on Saturday on Pub Sports Radio for the watch along for the fights, and on Sunday on Pub Sports Radio for Stat Diggers for UFC 281 with my man DFS by the numbers. Good night, everybody. We will see you next week, and let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 64.